Welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney.
And my name is Karen. Today, we are looking at day 1 of our grammar station. And in part 1, it's about getting things straight. So in our dialogue today, we have two characters in our dialogue. They're watching a show, but one of the character is getting, like some of the characters, they're getting confused about what they're watching or who they're watching.
Right.
How about you? Do you ever get confused about two famous celebrities or two of your friends? Maybe they look alike?
I do. I'm really glad you asked that because I really love to watch movies. I'm very into lots of Hollywood movies. And for me personally, sometimes I do get the big 4 Hollywood Chris's mixed up.
Okay.
Right? So we have Chris Pine, we have Chris Pratt, we have Chris Hemsworth, and Thor, and we also have Chris Evans, who is really famously known for playing Captain America.
Oh, you are right.
Yeah.
But they don't really look alike just because they have the same name. So people often get them confused, right?
Yeah, they get them really mixed up sometimes, and it's even harder because there are 4 of them, right?
True. Oh, I have another one.
Yeah.
Do you know Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
They're actually, they don't look alike either, but they're both from Canada and they're both named Ryan. So oftentimes people get them confused, right?
Yeah, they do. But that's why today we are going to be talking about getting things straight, making sure we're not confused. If there's a mix-up, we want to make sure everyone's on the same page and has their characters right,
Exactly. And that's what getting things straight means.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get into today's lesson.
Mimi and Roger are discussing a show that they just started watching.
I really admire the woman who can talk to animals.
She has a good head on her shoulders. However, I like the magician.
That's the guy whose clothes and things keep getting in the way, right?
All right, so we are going to get started with our dialogue today, which again is titled Getting Things Straight, Part A. And like you mentioned, we do have 2 characters here that are talking about a show that they just started, I think.
That's right. So we have 2 characters in our dialogue today, Mimi and Roger. So Mimi and Roger are discussing a show that they just started watching. Now, it's always fun to watch shows with your friends. And then you get to discuss the characters, the plots, what happens next in the show, right?
That's the best part.
That's right. So we're going to learn more about what Mimi and Roger are watching.
All right, so Mimi starts by saying, I really admire the woman who can talk to animals.
Ooh.
This actually reminds me of I think it was either late 90s or early 2000s movie called Dr. Dolittle. I don't know if you ever saw that with Eddie Murphy. That was great. I wonder if the show is similar to that.
It's really funny. It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's really funny. Right, so Mimi says she really admires this woman on the show who can talk to animals. Now, to admire is a verb, and if you admire someone, it means that you have a deep respect for someone who can do something special, or maybe you have a deep respect for someone who can maybe do something that you can't really do.
That exactly. And then that's why I said I admire the woman who can talk to animals, because we know that it is very, very rare. Not many people can talk to animals. I wish I had that skill.
Me too. And I wonder if this woman is she's speaking English to the animals. Is it more of a physical communication? I'm very curious. Gestures, body language. I wonder what she means when she says that this woman on the show can actually talk to animals.
But no matter what it is, even if it's just talking to the animals or using your gesture, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, and definitely something to admire. All right, so we are going to swing it to Tina, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Tina. 今天的对话是 Mimi 和 Roger 在讨论一出他们刚开始看的节目。Mimi 说她真的很钦佩那位能跟动物沟通的女子哦。 它用到了 admire 这个动词，就可以表达钦佩、欣赏。I admire my teacher for her patience. 我很钦佩老师的耐心。Patience 就是耐心。接着我们回到对话当中。
Thank you, Tina. And now we are back. Okay, so before we went to Tina, we know that Mimi was saying that, oh, I really admire the woman who can talk to animals, right? And now Roger says, she has a good head on her shoulders. Now, what does it mean when I say that? When you say someone has a good head on her shoulders, usually you're complimenting this person, saying that person is very intelligent, making good decisions, sound decisions. So she has a good head on her shoulders. Now he's referring to the woman that can talk to animals. And then Roger says, however, I like the magician. Oh, okay. So there's another character on the show who is a magician. So what's a magician? Now that is a noun. A magician is a person who performs tricks to entertain people, like making objects appear, disappear, or change. They're often seen at parties or on stage doing some cool tricks, and everybody usually gives them a big hand after they perform a nice magic trick. An example sentence would be, the magician pulled a fluffy white rabbit out of his empty black hat. Now, you often see a magician would do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you sometimes even see them kind of, they'll put someone in a box and they'll kind of saw the person in half and somehow the person's still alive and poof, magic.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, then Mimi says, that's the guy whose clothes and things keep getting in the way, right? Okay, so it sounds like Mimi's just kind of asking for clarity, making sure that she understands the character on the show that Roger is referring to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then she seems a little bit confused, right?
She does.
Okay, well, let's go over to Tina first and we will be right back.
Roger 说，那位能和动物沟通的女子很聪明，不过呢，她喜欢的是另一位魔术师。咪咪问，是不是那一个一直被衣服和东西挡路的人？我们先来看看单字哦 ，magician 名词，魔术师。The magician pulled a rabbit out of his hat. 魔术师从帽子里变出一只兔子。文法的部分刚刚提到了。Somebody has a good head on one's shoulders. 某人很聪明，有良好的判断力，这是一个固定用法。Head 是头 ，shoulder 是肩膀。比如说 ，Everyone agrees that Sarah has a good head on her shoulders. 所有人都同意 Sarah 很有判断力。Get in the way 挡路、阻碍，后面可以用 of 来接受词。举例来说 ，Move the box so it doesn't get in the way of the door. 把箱子移开，才不会挡到门。接着我们回到对话当中。
Thank you, Tina. And now we are back. Okay, so far in our dialogue, we know that Mimi and Roger, they're discussing a show that they just started watching. And then Mimi kind of wants clarity on the character that Roger is talking about. Well, Roger really likes the magician and Mimi really admires the woman who can talk to animals.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So we are going to find out a little bit more about the characters that Mimi and Roger like. So we are going to go to the second part of the dialogue and we'll be right back.
No, that's the musician. The magician is the guy that has different colored eyes.
Oh, he's the one with the stick which can change shapes.
It has a lot more power than that.
I always mix the two of them up.
That happens. There are many characters that look alike.
All right, we are back from our break. And before we took a break, right, we learned a little bit more about the characters on the show that Mimi and Roger are watching. So we know that Mimi really admires the woman who can talk to animals. Roger really likes the magician, and now we're going to continue so Roger can kind of give Mimi clarity on the character that he really likes to watch.
That's right. So now Roger says, no, that's the musician. Because Mimi was saying, is that the guy that, has his clothes always getting in the way? But Roger says, no, that's the musician. The magician is the guy that has different colored eyes. So now he's clarifying, oh yeah, no, that's not the one I'm talking about. The person that keeps on having his clothes getting in the way is the musician. But I am referring to the magician. So what's a musician? Now that's a noun. A musician is a person who plays a musical instrument or sings or writes music, often as a job or a hobby. Now, an example sentence would be, the talented musician played a beautiful song on the piano.
Okay. All right. And Mimi says, oh, he's the one with the stick, which can change shapes. Okay. So now Mimi's kind of getting more clarity on which character is which.
Exactly. And now Roger says, it has a lot more power than that. Okay, so I guess he's talking about the magician's stick, right? The magician's stick that can change shapes. But then I guess because Roger really likes the magician, so he's saying, hey, it's not just a stick that can change shapes. It has a lot more power than that. And that is why he likes the magician so much.
Oh, okay. Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
All right. So now we are going to swing it to Tina. And we'll be right back.
那个一直被衣服和东西挡路的人是音乐家，而 Roger 喜欢的魔术师是眼睛的颜色不同的那位。咪咪明白了，就是有变形魔杖的那个人。而魔杖的威力可不止那样哦。我们来看看单字 musician 名词音乐人。That musician plays the guitar very well. 那名音乐人吉他弹得很好。接着我们回到对话当中。
All right, thank you so much, Tina. Now we are going to continue along with the dialogue. So before we cut to Tina, right, I think Roger was just briefly explaining to Mimi which character was which. He was explaining the difference between the magician. He was explaining the difference between the magician and the musician, right? Little bit tongue-tied there. And Roger really takes a liking to the musician. No, Roger takes a liking to the magician. My apologies. Okay, now Mimi says, oh, okay, I always mix the two of them up, meaning she confuses the two of them, right? So to mix something up or to mix people up just means you to confuse or mistake one person for another, or to confuse or mistake one thing for another, right? So being from the US, I know people sometimes mix up Washington State and Washington, D.C.
Oh, they're
right?
two different places?
Two different places on two opposite ends of the country. For people, right, I think we said before how sometimes people will mix up the two Ryans in Hollywood. We have Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel are both comedians, right? They're both on late night. So to mix up just means to confuse two people or two things for one another.
That's right. And then he said, well, that happens. Roger says, that happens. There are many characters that look alike. So I guess from here, we know that the musician and the magician, they probably look alike, but they just have different eye colors, right? Okay, so alike, that's an adjective. Alike means two or more things are very similar, or that people are doing something in the same way. It is often used to describe how people or things look, act, or feel. An example sentence would be, the twin brothers look so much alike that I cannot tell them apart. And that's true. They're probably identical twins. When you have identical twins, that means they look exactly the same. Very, very little part of them that is different. So sometimes it's so hard to tell them apart.
That's a great example. I've had many, many twins in a lot of my classes as a teacher. And sometimes I'm thinking, okay, which one is Ryan? Which one is Rain? Which one is Lucy? Which one is this one? So yeah, great example.
So sometimes you call the wrong name, right?
Sometimes I do. Yeah, sometimes I do. It's very common.
Okay, let's go over to Tina first and we will be right back.
咪咪说她总是把魔术师和音乐家搞混。 Roger 说这很正常，因为有很多角色都长得很像。他说的 alike 就可以形容相像的。Your and your brother's smiles look alike. 你和你弟弟的笑容很相像。文法的部分刚刚提到了 mix up 搞混，这是一个可以分的片语动词。比如说 I mixed up my bag with my sister's this morning. 我今天早上把我的包包跟我姐姐的搞混了。接着我们回到对话当中。
Thank you, Tina. And now we are back. So from our dialogue, we know that, Mimi and Roger, they're talking about the characters in the show that they just started watching. And then Mimi was a little bit confused. She got two of the characters mixed up. And then Roger was explaining which one is the musician, which one is the magician. So sometimes when you are confused about something, it's kind of important to clarify or ask your friends, discuss with your friends, and then maybe your friends can tell you which one is which so you can get things straight.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so we are going to review the dialogue again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
Right,
bye-bye.
Mimi and Roger are discussing a show that they just started watching.
I really admire the woman who can talk to animals.
She has a good head on her shoulders. However, I like the magician.
That's the guy whose clothes and things keep getting in the way, right?
No, that's the musician. The magician is the guy that has different colored eyes.
Oh, he's the one with the stick which can change shapes.
It has a lot more power than that.
I always mix the two of them up.
That happens. There are many characters that look alike.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 admire 动词钦佩欣赏， magician 名词魔术师， musician 名词音乐人， alike 形容词相像的。接着我们来看文法的部分。 Somebody has a good head on one's shoulders. 某人很聪明，有良好的判断力。 Alan has a good head on his shoulders, so Iris trusts him. Alan 有良好的判断力，所以 Iris 信任他。 Get in the way 挡路阻碍。 The chair got in the way of what we were doing. 那张椅子妨碍到我们正在做的事了。 Mix up 搞混。 Nick mixed up the salt and sugar. Nick 把盐跟糖搞混了。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，那我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
A winery is a place where wine is produced and often sold. If you're old enough to enjoy a sip of wine, today's destination might be perfect for you. Railway Valley Winery. The Railway Valley Winery is next to the Dajia River Steel Bridge on the Houfeng bike path. It resembles a European castle. You can take pictures of its beautiful exterior and dine at the restaurant on the second floor. From the third floor, you'll get a stunning view of the Dajia River Steel Bridge and the riverbank. The winery also offers guided tours where visitors can learn how wine is made. The Railway Valley Winery is a great place for family trips. Even if you're underage and can't sample the wine, you can still learn a lot about the winemaking process at Railway Valley Winery. And remember, if you drink, don't drive. And if you drive, don't drink.